Hi everyone, a very good evening. So thank you for joining this expert speak session. We'll be starting the session in a minute or two. Let few more attendees join in and then we'll start the session. Hi everyone, good evening again. So we are starting the session right now. So we have our speaker as well with us, Neha Chakrabarti. Neha Chakrabarti is the talent acquisition leader at Tesco, where she oversees talent acquisition and strategy for global technology and global business solutions. With over 20 years of experience, she has transitioned from business operations to recruitment, focusing on attracting and retaining top talent. At Tesco, Neha drives innovative talent strategies, enhance candidate experience, and fosters a culture of continuous improvement. So, yeah, thank you so much, Neha, for joining in. Handing over the mic officially to you. You can take this up now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adil, and thank you everyone for joining today's session. I'm very pleased to be with all of you this evening, right? And what we are going to cover today is, what the college students really need to know on, their job search journey. So I have some slides and some content prepared that I will run you all through. And after that, we will have a Q&A session. So feel free, to ask any questions which I might not have covered during the content itself. So if I just, talk about recruitment and the evolution of recruitment over the past few years, right, that we've come a long way from the traditional methods, right, of posting job ads in newspapers. I'm sure none of you, you're a much younger lot, but, during my time when we wanted to look for a job, you really looked for every Wednesday the Times Ascent, right? And you looked for the Hindustan Times and, what they would come and you would have these paper ads and you'll have all the companies really going for either half page ads or a full page ad, etc., getting their brand right there and mostly seeking people to come in for a walk-in, right, into their office premises, right? We didn't really have very advanced technology at that point in time. But from that traditional method, today we've really moved to a lot more technology savvy approaches, right? A lot of modern approaches today, right? And this is primarily, driven by the advancements in technology. So Shovan, if we can move to the next slide. Yeah. So if you just look at it, there's been a lot of advancement in technology uh, and change in candidate expectations, as well as, need for companies to stay competitive in attracting top talent. What I was just touching upon, right? Recruitment predominantly earlier used to be reactive, right? Companies, would get a job opening. Once they know that they have to hire is when, they would start asking for applications. They would keep waiting for the applications to come in, right? And or just do these, drives over the weekend or during the week, basis their newspaper ads and just keep getting candidates in. At that point in time, vendors was also, a very famous way of really hiring at that point in time. And for any kind of job, whether it was at the entry level or we were hiring across levels, we were heavily dependent on vendors and it was extremely cost heavy as well for organizations at that point in time. However, from there, we've really shifted to modern recruitment activities. There are a lot of strategies now in place. We actually talk about talent acquisition strategies, and companies really do their talent planning in advance. They really study all of their metrics, etc., how things are moving, how is the attrition trend, what are they expecting, the competition to hire, which are the emerging skills, where would the company really need and what skills would they need a year year or two from now. So many different things are done, which is really leading to companies to have to do talent pipelining, right? Really look at social media as a platform to really go and recruit, right? And there is, AI that is getting introduced from a sourcing standpoint as well. I think there's a long way to go there, but do we have platforms now that can really help recruiters and make a recruiter's job easier, automate some bit of it? The answer is a yes, right? Um, the traditional method clearly, do not suffice in today's talent market. We have online job boards. We are here today on this platform. Naukri is the biggest job board that we have. And then you have some others as well. You have professional networking sites like LinkedIn, right? And honestly, it is really not possible that if you are wanting to join the corporate world, or if you're already there, that you're not on LinkedIn. It has become a very important part, not only of job search, but really to remain relevant and updated on so many topics that and discussions that go on that platform. There are ATSs, right? And at one point in time, an ATS, used to be just a way of really tracking an application from the time a candidate applied to the time, probably an offer went out. However, there is now a lot of AI that is introduced in ATSs. So they're not, as simple where, you just apply, but it keeps, giving the recruiter a lot of prompts, etc. It does a lot of matching of keywords from the candidate resumes, cover letters, etc., into what the job description is really saying. And we also have the candidate relationship management tool, which is very different from an ATS. Some companies are using it really well. Some, really have to still get on that journey. And what this candidate relationship management clearly does is the company might not have an opening immediately. They might not have, or you could be a silver medalist candidate, which means that, very close, to making it to that job. But we only had one opening, so we could go ahead with one candidate. But now, I can still keep you active in that CRM database, and the company will keep connected with you, keep pushing out material for you to read on what's going on, in our organization, etc. And as soon as we have an opening, all we have to go, do get into the CRM and go and hire our candidate. So a lot of technology that has got, introduced into this. It's also become important for an employee today, for a company today, to really focus on their employer brand. Now, today, our candidate, is extremely knowledgeable, right? So it is from an organization's market, a company's market, moved to a candidate market. Yes, the candidates today, each one of you bright people like you, are looking to get into the working economy, right? But at the same time, you're also very conscious about what does this employee stand for, what is the brand that they have in the market, right? How are they really recruiting their jobs? What's the reputation? There is Glassdoor ratings that are very important. Many candidates, go and check those ratings. They are very relevant for them. What is the culture in the company, right? How digital savvy are they? What is their employee value proposition apart from the fact that they will offer me this work? What other avenues do I have as a candidate if I am to join this company? And this entire shift in, how the candidate mindset has changed has also made sure that organizations step up, right? And really move towards this journey and make this change as well, right? So this clearly helps the all the candidates to make more informed career choices, right? And also that it has compelled the companies to really rethink their approach, right, on talent acquisition in today's age, right? So clearly, if I have to just summarize, today now the processes are a lot more dynamic, right? Everybody's using digital platforms, social media, technologies, and it's becoming important to understand the trends, right? To make sure that in this competitive market, companies can continue to hire, right? So when we can move on to the next slide. Thank you. Right. So I've already touched upon how there has been introduction of technology in recruitment. I will touch upon each one of these a little bit more. It is important for you all, to understand how organizations really look at and approach recruitment today, and that will help you really get aligned on how you can get an entry into the organizations as well, right? So when we talk about leveraging technology, just briefly covering again, right, from job boards to the networking sites to an application tracking system, which is nothing but a recruitment tool, but it is powered by AI, right? There are chatbots. There are many, many tools that are available in the hiring process, right? Just imagine, if you're studied technology and you're applying for a software developer role, the job description, let's say, mentions Python, right? So you, as a candidate, have to make sure that your resume includes Python predominant, really clearly, so that when the AI match happens, right, it really picks up your resume as well, and sees that you have the skill set that the job really requires, right? uh, if you have worked on certain projects, then make sure that you and if you've used Python, if I'm just taking this example, make sure that you mention that, and you just don't say that I interned with XYZ company and I worked on this project, but clearly call out that what is the language that you were using, etc., right? So the ATS clearly scans for resume and keywords, right, and matches it to the job descriptions. And it is important for the resumes to really pass the initial check and for it to move forward in the cycle, right? And there are AI tools that really suggest, because and just depending on which organization, how long, but within a few hours, right, on opening a new job on an ATS, hundreds of applicants apply to that job, right? And the AI tool, what they really do is suggest the roles, match the profile to the roles, right? And hence, using the right keywords and calling out the skills that you really have in your resume lands you a higher chance, right, for getting picked up in that or AI search, and being pushed to the recruiter for an interview, right? There are tools like HireView, and this is a tool that specializes in video interviews, right? And they track your facial expressions, the choice of words, your speaking voice, etc., and then uses AI to really say that, all right, for what you are looking for, these are the candidates that really make the cut, right? So if I talk about data driven recruitment, right, uh, everybody is using data a lot more, right? It's become a very, very competitive world. Companies are also using analytics to make informed hiring decisions. When we have a new opening that comes up, predominantly basis past data and the analysis we've done as an organization, we clearly know which job requires what kind of a quality, what kind of a background, how long does it take for me to really be able to fulfill that position, where will I really go and source for that, what's been in the last 6 months where I've been able to make a hit and really go and be able to get that hiring, etc., right? And all of this, using this data, is becoming really important for the organizations are also using gamification, some judgmental tests, a lot of different ways of assessing candidates, right? So that as employers, we gain deeper understanding into the candidates' cognitive abilities, their problem solving skills, their ability to learn, and pick up in a new environment, et cetera, so that we really have a more holistic view, that when we hire a candidate, they're really going to be suitable for the role, right? So a lot of tools available to the employers as well, right? And clearly we use the data analytics to improve the hiring experience, the hiring process, and also ensuring that we reduce or eliminate any kind of unconscious bias that might come in as part of hiring, right? So yeah, I would strongly suggest that as fresh graduates trying to get into the job market, you really develop a data driven mindset, right? You Because at any point in time, depending on whatever work you're doing, you will have to really deal with data and manage data at some point in time, right? Digital platforms, I've already touched on this. LinkedIn is such, it's absolutely in all of our faces. There is no way that we don't go on LinkedIn, right? We can decide how active we want to be and not be, but I'm very, very sure that we all are on LinkedIn at one point in time a few years back, right? And You would find all your managers and above, or middle managers or senior management roles. You could go on to LinkedIn, connect with people, and do your job searches there. However, today we absolutely see the young millennial workforce to be found on LinkedIn, right? We clearly see them on the online job portals, right? They like to network, right? All people like you like to network and develop your, professional skills being on these platforms. If you're an technology graduate, right? If you're an engineer, you would be seen on platforms like GitHub, etc., where you can really go and engage in industry group and industry level discussions, right? You can on LinkedIn follow the companies of your interest. You can try and understand what's going on in the industry in a certain space, in a certain skill, right? So, and some of these tools that are available, right, are very important to be informed not only about the job openings but also about what are the trends that are going on in the industry, right? There'll be students who will actively participate in the LinkedIn groups, which are related to, their particular fields, right? And just gain insight into the skills and the experience that employers really value, right? When you follow different organizations, you do understand, what each employer really values, what are they standing for, etc. And that can really help, in your job search, right? So, uh, the virtual and augmented reality, I think a lot of work to be done yet in this space. However, this is also coming up, right? And this is probably next in line, right? And for example, when we went into COVID, right, and we still had to do the hiring, right? All of us would believe that no attrition will happen. People like me, at one point in time, really thought, will I have my job? Because are we really going to hire? Right, because everybody's sitting at home, right? Everybody wants that stability. But believe you me, we had to continue hiring, and we continued to hire in good numbers. And that is where this point really played in, because this was helpful in doing virtual office tours, right? And really having those interview experiences which were immersive, even though they were not, happening face to face, but clearly as much as possible, where we could give, that experience to the candidate. Right. So Shovan, if we can move to the next one. Yeah, and to the next one. So I'm just now going to cover some, job strategies and some focus areas, some things that all of you can focus on, right? So tailored resumes, right? And a covering letter, right? What does this really mean is highlight your skills, right? And highlight your experiences that are most relevant for the job description. Now, many a times, and it is, very important that we understand this. Uh, we have to sometimes tweak our resume and tweak some of the keywords in our resume depending on the job description and what that employer is looking for in that job role, right? Sometimes we just try to use the same resume for different companies, different jobs, but use the same resume. So what I'm trying to say is that, you have to, tweak and align, your resume and change some of the keywords to ensure that you highlight your right skills that are required for that particular job that you're applying for, right? Just review your job descriptions very carefully, right? And just make sure you focus on the keywords in your CV and on the cover letter as well, right? So if, the employer is clearly saying that I really need Java, right? Or I really need project management skills, and that's important to me. Make sure that you highlight your experience where it shows that you have really managed projects in the past, right? You have coordinated with different teams, you have met deadlines, etc., and bring out, those aspects which are important for a project management job. If I move to the next one, the next slide, right, which talks about personal branding, right? Now, we all, leave an impression, and we all have to create a personal brand, irrespective of where we are, in our work journey, right? It is very essential in today's job market. Uh, you can sit and ask, if I've, not worked anywhere, what will be my personal brand, right? Your presence, how you create your profile on LinkedIn, right, can really influence your potential employers. And that is your personal brand. What you are, that's your first impression, right? So, compelling LinkedIn summary, a very strong headline, right, makes for a very, very strong first impression, right? Ensure, that your LinkedIn profile is absolutely complete. There is a professional photo on there. You are detailing out your work experience if you have any, right, along with a compelling headline. You might not have work experience. You might have worked, as an intern, or, done a project in your college, whatever it is, but make sure, that you call that out clearly. What were your learnings from participating in that project? What are the kind of behaviors and skill sets you were able to display by participating in that project? All of those things become really important, because they're only looking as, and a prospective employer, your recruiter is only looking at that picture, is really looking at the headline that you have there, if it's compelling enough or not for them to take you ahead in the journey, right? So for example, if you really want to join data science as a field, right, your headline can be, I'm an aspiring data scientist, right, and I have a lot of passion for big data and machine learning, right, rather than a generic one saying that looking for opportunities in data science, right? So those are the differences. So make sure that you spend time, you work on all of these things, and make sure that you leave an impact and make a personal brand, right? You can work, to create an online portfolio, and this might be more relevant for the technology and engineering students, where you really showcase your projects and your achievements. And this can be an addition and be on your LinkedIn profile, or an addition to your resume and LinkedIn profile, right? Clearly calling out your projects, the achievements, what did you learn, your capabilities, right? Any case studies or project summaries, basis the projects that you've done, any certifications that you've gained, uh, throughout that journey, etc., are things that you can really call out and detail out the descriptions of your projects, right? The technologies that you really worked on, that you used, and what was the outcome, right? What did you learn? What was the outcome? What did you really deliver out of that project, right? The next one that I'll cover is internship and the work experience. All right, sorry. So, yeah, the next one is power of networking. All right. So, networking becomes, really important as you go ahead. You have the options as a student to apply through many various, online boards, etc., as I've already spoken, right? But however, in today's digital age, a lot is done through referrals, right? And they are a lot more effective than cold applications or applying on an ETS. You can leverage your connections to ensure that they are able to refer you into an organization, and at least get you to an informational interview round, right? And hence, whatever opportunity that you get out of working on a project with different students, or in a company, or doing an internship, etc., make sure that you're building your network while you're doing that, because we don't know when that network can help you in your job search, right? You can attend industry events, there are webinars that happen, there are workshops, right? Make sure that you go connect with speakers, attendees, connect with them on LinkedIn, keep in touch with them, and don't hesitate, ask for an informational interview, and learn more about what are the potential career paths that are available for you. And then internship, I've already covered internship a lot while we've been talking. Any one of you might be doing internships, or would have done any kind of part-time work, right? That really provides you practical experience, right, of doing this. That can be your stepping stone, because there are many, many organizations that, hire interns. And then from there is where the conversion happens of really onto full-time roles. So not 100%, right? But at the same time, people who show the potential, who show the passion, right? Who are really inquisitive, who are curious, et cetera, et cetera, really get converted. So this can be a stepping stone, and hence, take your internship seriously, right? Always look for internships, that align with your career goals. Keep seeking feedback while you're doing that internship with, whoever is the on the employer side that you are aligned to. Make sure that you keep seeking feedback, right, on your performance. What is the skill enhancement that you want to do, right? Keep taking initiatives. Sometimes you just shy away saying, I'm just interning for 2 months, right? I'll just do as much as I'm told. But this is your stepping stone. As I said, make sure that you're taking initiatives, you're building a network within the company as well while you're doing this, right? So make sure, that whatever that you're doing, you do your basic task, but you are curious enough, you're brave enough to go, beyond your basic tasks and use new methods, right? Participate in different initiatives, which can really showcase your problem solving skills, or, anything, that you would really want this particular organization to know about you beyond, the role that you have been offered in the internship, right? And this can really potentially lead to future job opportunities as well, right? And as I said, I've already covered this. If you've really interned in a tech company or anywhere, or you're a CA intern and you've really gone and interned, in a finance process, etc., make sure that you really call out what are those things that you really learned. How is that, added value to what you would have learned on the course, right? And make sure that all of those specific achievements, etc., are called out, and how you were able to learn those things and what is the outcome that it drove, and make sure that those are mentioned on your LinkedIn, that's mentioned on your resume as well. Okay, moving on to the next one. So how do we really prepare for the future of work, right? And just some tips from my side, right? Some can work, some might not. It depends on the situation as well. But there are a lot of, at all points in time, the world is changing really, really fast. There are a lot of new roles, new skill sets that keep coming up, right? And especially on the technology side, things are moving really, really fast. And the job market will have new roles, skills in AI, data science, a lot being spoken around sustainability, right? And we will hear a lot of companies. If you just go and follow companies, you'll see that sustainability these days is a big agenda for many organizations, including Tesco as well, right? So make sure that you are proactive in learning new skills, right? There are so many platforms available today to students to go and get enrolled on online courses, gain some certifications, even post college or finishing university, right? And this will help you. You will keep adapting. This will help you to adapt to the market changes, and you yourself can become a lot more competitive, right? So many of us, who finished education long time back, right, are also going on many platforms. Why do you think, there are these MBAs, etc., for executives who have worked for a certain years, to go back and enroll into and go and learn those skills, and fill that skill gap that has emerged over, 10 to 15 years up, from the time that we would have finished our education, right? So it is, for staying relevant, it is extremely important that we stay aligned to what's happening, around us, and make sure that we are always updating ourselves, right? Um Adapting to change, again, be open to learn continuously, because even when you come in, learning continuously does not mean bookish knowledge, or just doing a certification, etc. It really means that there are new technologies and methodologies. You really go and read about them, right? I do understand, that when you do coding, there are certain things that you've done, but there are many people who are coding while they're coding. You're allowed to go on YouTube and understand, what's the difference today, how can I do this faster, etc., right? There is Chat GPT as well. There are so many things, right? And this is all adapting to change, to make sure that we understand that what is it that each of these tools and different platforms really offer us, right? And this will help us stay relevant in the future job market as well, right? So if you are in the field of technology, make sure that you are enrolling into online courses, right, which are related to either industry trends or emerging technologies, right? So a few of these things that we keep in mind. Being inquisitive at all points in time. For the current employers, it is extremely important to understand the ability of a candidate to really keep learning as they continue their career journey with a particular employer, right? So all of those things are very important. And you need to display that during the interviews and even in all the online profiles, etc., that you maintain. Yeah. So this is, what I really had for all of you. So thank you very much for patiently listening to me, right? And now I'm not sure how many questions we have, and I'd be happy to take on questions from here on.
Thanks, Neha. This was very insightful session for obviously for all the candidates as well. So hopefully the candidates will be able to learn few things for sure. So one question we have is, what will you suggest a fresher candidate who want to associate with manufacturing field? Should the candidate learn AI and ML now or after getting the job?
So, if it is going to be relevant for your job, then we might as well get into it now. It will help you, to really make that right impression during the interview. There are a lot of courses, etc., that you can do while on the job, right? So I'm not sure if the question, clearly means should I stop everything and enroll into a full-time course and then again go and apply for the job. But my, industry just keeps moving. So my suggestion would be that, look at different platforms, get into an online course and do it while you're on the job.
Got it. Thank you, Neha. So few folks have raised their hands. We would request that please type your questions in the Q&A section and then we can take that up as well. Okay. Yeah. So now one question from the candidate is that will ChatGPT or the AI thing will be able to take over our job, or should we means how should we prepare for these things for future?
Yes. So yeah, it's not going to take over all jobs, and we are, I think, a little, my opinion is we are a little far away, for that to come. Humans will always be important, right? But clearly, as time progresses, so if I've just to take a simple example, 20 years back, right, if you were a call center agent and you were taking a call, right, nobody could think that years later you will have an IVR system, you'll have different kind of technology, and a lot of that will be catered to the end client through a chatbot, right? So basically, what with years passing by, right, there are different jobs that come at the lower end of the work matrix. Those are the ones where AI keeps coming, but then there are other jobs that it creates, right? There are the higher, and whatever is still higher end in the package will remain. So humans will always remain relevant, right? And the emotional quotient will always remain very, very relevant. So, so are we going to be absolutely obsolete as human beings? The answer is no, not at all.
Thanks, Neha. So the next question we have is that how to make the resume more ATS friendly, and how can we sure that the resume is not getting filtered out by the ATSs?
So as I, covered during, my session, right, it's very important that you make sure that, your, because the recruiter is also going to go on your LinkedIn profile parallelly. Once, they get your resume, make sure that the skills that you have, the skills that you possess are clearly called out. The languages or the particular study that you've done. If you're a chartered accountant, you have to highlight the fact that I'm a certified chartered accountant. So automatically, if the job description requires that professional qualification, right, it will bring that up, right? So make sure that all your keywords, right, and that is why I said that every time that you apply for a job, it is a habit that we have one resume and we will, apply uses that. That resume, use it for any job. Make sure that you read the job description carefully, and the key words and the key skills that are required for the job are also reflecting in your resume, right? So to that extent, if you have those skills, I'm not saying make them up, but if you have those skills, make sure then they are called out, because each job description will clearly call out what is relevant for that job, right? So make sure your resume is tailored to the specific job, and highlight any relevant skills and experiences through internship or any part-time job that you really have, right? And as I said, LinkedIn does help draw attention to your application as well, right? So those are the things that you can do.
Thank you, Neha. So we are taking just last question, I guess. Okay. So maybe you can recommend some websites to apply for internship. Okay, few folks have already mentioned. So obviously the Naukri and Naukri campus is already there. folks can search directly. The internship are also posted, jobs are also posted on this. Neha mentioned, I guess, LinkedIn as well. These are the few sites. Okay.
Yes.
So, Neha, one of the question from my end maybe that we can see that for few sectors, obviously the pay parity is very high. Means, let's say if I become a software engineer, it could be a possibility that I start the job at, let's say, 10 LPA to 15 LPA. And let's say if I am a non-tech graduate or maybe from a manufacturing industry or an electrical engineer, it could be a possibility that the competition is very high and the job are very less paying compared to a software engineer guy. So what do you recommend in this scenario, assuming I'm pursuing non-CS or non-IT engineer? Yeah.
So see, we have sometimes it's a longer journey, right? However, we have to be very clear what is my end goal and what is really my passion and where do I want to grow. Sometimes, we start something and then we realize this is not what I'm made for, right? So we have to really go after what we really want to do and keep building on our skills. We at least in my experience, I have seen, somebody might start at the 10 lakh faster than I did, and I start at a 5 lakh, but over a period of 3 to 4 years, sorry, if we are absolutely focused to gain the skills required to do that job really well, right, and stand out among so many people who join together with me, right, I can, at least my experience says that in that much of time you're able to bridge that gap, and everybody reaches that uh, similar kind of pay packet. But clearly, if I now didn't study science and I didn't want aspire to be a software engineer, I cannot at a later stage, being a finance graduate, decide that now I'm going to do that. So we have to do our journey, but there are new capabilities and new skills required in every field and in every domain, right? And probably that is what we can go after and build. I feel the initial 1 to 5 years are extremely important for a candidate on how and that decides where their career will go.
Thanks, Neha. Okay. So one of the question is, what are the initiatives can we take in the internship to impress the manager and stand out from the other candidates? Okay.
Now there is no prescribed initiative, that you can really take, right? But the depending on, you've been given a job role, right? And let's assume there is a morning huddle. I'm just taking an example. There is a morning huddle that the manager, really does with the 5 interns, right? And there is a set topic. You can always go to the manager and say, on this particular topic, can you give this to me and I will cover this in every huddle, right? So there are those small things. Every organization is doing different kinds of initiatives, either on the CSR side or on the learning side. So basis wherever your interest lies, right? You can, uh, and it has to be genuine. It is just not to impress somebody, but to make sure to say that this is something I would also want to learn along with my internship. I would want to improve on this. So can I participate in this? Can I raise my hand for this? But yeah, that, so those kind of things you can really vouch for on behalf of probably the other interns of, or the team that you are aligned to in that organization.
Thanks, Neha. So, Neha, I guess this is it. More or less, we are getting the same type of questions. So, thanks for the wonderful session. And if you have any closing words, you can add, or we can wrap up this session now. Thank you.
Now, I just want to thank the Naukri team and all of the participants today for giving me this opportunity. I hope that you have taken something away from this session and you will be able to apply it in your journey going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Bye,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Also, for everyone, the session recording will be available on the same link, so you guys can review this at later point of time as well. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye.